like the content we bring you about the heavy metal world, please like, subscribe, and comment to help us grow the channel.
This is Bryce Van Patten from Metal Express Radio Backstage, and today my guest is the bassist, vocalist, and founder of the UK-based band Balance of Power, Tony Ritchie. The band has a brand new album out, which is the first new release since 2003, and the album's titled Fresh from the Abyss. Tony's here to tell us all about it today. For folks who aren't familiar with Balance of Power, could you give us your elevator pitch on what the band is all about?
In the here and now, right now, we're all about, I guess it's a kind of a reinvigorated version of ourselves, really. And it's taken us a long time to get to this point. You know, we've got a lot of history. But we're drawing from all of that, you know, to give us everything we have now. So, I mean, musically, I would say we do like, you know, there's some heavier stuff in some of these newer songs. There's still some proggy stuff that we can't seem to tear ourselves away from, you know, and no bad thing either, you know, because we really truly enjoy that part of it, you know.
For sure.
And with Hazel now being a part of the band, we feel like it's, you know, it's kind of sparkled up what we're making, you know, and giving it a slightly more updated edge, I guess. And when you look at the whole package, it for us is so much more energy in it now than there has been for a while. You know, we did make the last album with the Scintilla project with Biff Byford and Andy Sneap, which was really, you know, a Balance of Power album, but with other people, the guest musicians on it. Really, we couldn't use the name because Biff and his loyal Saxon fans wouldn't have that, you know, and we wouldn't want them to think that he was going anywhere else, you know.
Right.
So I mean, we've been evolving, and this is how we are now. So and we're really proud of it.
Awesome. If you had to describe the music to somebody who hadn't heard you, how would you describe your music?
I'd say it was melodic metal. I've got to stick melodic in there, even though, you know, we're not like a symphony rock band, metal band or anything like that.
Yeah, but you're not thrash or Cookie Monster metal, or, you know.
There's no. I mean, we actually did get a bit of a scare from Hazel in Abyss, one of the tracks on the new album. But she went a little bit Cookie Monster on us, and we loved it. You know, there's a little bit of growl in there, but it was just enough for us, just enough angst and aggression to put the cherry on the top of that particular cake. You know.
Absolutely. So I understand that you were the original vocalist, and then you continued to write, but became the bass player. Can you talk a little bit about your history with Balance of Power?
Sure. Yeah. Well, when the band first came about, Lionel Hicks and Ivan Gunn actually started the band. I was called in to be singer because I'd been working with Lionel in the past in some various bands with Kid Wicked and Lady Luck and Gypsy. So going back in time, me and Lionel have been in bands together for quite some time, you know. And when there was a space going in Balance of Power, Lionel kind of put me forward, and I jumped into doing that, you know. So we did that first. I mean, imagine all this time in my musical career, I've been a singer up until then, you know. So we made the first album, got a record deal with Pony Canyon. You know, for me, it was like, wow, happy days, you know, everything's going great. But then, you know, because of the type of music that was starting to change again, we'd written that nice AOR album, the very first one. That one was going to be slightly different. We could tell just because of our influences and just how we were evolving at the time. And I mean, it became apparent that, you know, my singing range just wasn't anywhere near what it could be for these kind of songs. You know, I mean, I was in love with bands like TNT, you know, where you had all this kind of very high kind of vocal range, you know. So I mean, the record company and the band and everybody sort of talked about it, and I was given the sack, but in a nice way, you know. It was like, okay, you know, we're going to find somebody who can perhaps hit those high notes, you know, excuse me, and I totally agree with them. So for me, it was it was a bit of a hard knock because all that time I'd been a singer, and now all of a sudden I'm not a singer in a band anymore. I think the next couple of albums I only wrote songs with the band. I didn't play bass on it or anything. But then, as fortune would have it, Chris Dale had to move on. He was the bass player at the time.
Uh-huh.
And so we talked about me being a bass player because I was originally a bass player before I even started singing, So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of how that came about in the first place. And then I carried on with writing and playing bass with the band. And it's just kind of evolved as we've gone. We've found a little bit of a niche for ourselves of how to make our songs, working with Pete Southern, with Lionel Hicks, with the John Kay, band members from days gone by, But
right.
But we all found a good way of working together, a very sort of happy medium, if you like, to finalize our songs, So it worked really well.
So your last album came out in 2003, if I'm correct. I'm not counting the compilation. But at the time, the band, you guys were putting out almost a record a year. Can you talk a little bit about the interim and how things came back together now?
Sure. Yeah. Well, the last album we made, I think, was Heathen Machine, wasn't it? That one was with John Kay.
Right.
And we went and did a tour and made a live DVD for that, the Heathenology, as you mentioned, the compilation albums and CDs there. And then we kind of all stopped. We were in a good place. We knew we had a nice machine rolling along here. Everything was very comfortable. We were very happy with each other. And we decided to have a small break. We said, okay, let's just have a short break from this so we can all kind of just get ourselves, regather ourselves and get ready for the next onslaught of songs,
regroup. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Next batch of time in the studio. Well, that time kind of stretched on a bit longer and then a little bit longer. Just life got in the way, really. No real reason, just life and things got in the way. And we all ended up doing some other things, to fulfill our needs, if you like, because we were just taking a little bit of a break from everything. And you know how that goes, 1 minute, it's 1 minute, then 5 years have gone past, Yeah,
you blink and you're like, what the hell? Right.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I mean, in the meantime, John Kay, he has become, I mean, he was always a great composer then. You only got to listen to Biomechanical, his previous band, to listen to the musical work that he does. But in the meantime, he started scoring movies, and working with Lionel in the movie industry. So he's kind of dived completely into that. And now that is his baby, if you like, so he would rather do that now, which is fine. He's still a good friend because he's actually on the new album that we just made. He arranged and played the keyboards on the final track on the album, One More Time Around the Sun. But yeah, so he's kind of doing that. He's a very successful musician in his own right, doing other things in the musical, movie sphere, if you like, Lionel became involved in movies himself, and it's all taken up our time in various different ways. So when we got to the point of making the Scintilla Project, this really came about because Lionel was working on a movie called the Scintilla Project, and he was talking to Biff about adding maybe one of the Saxon songs to the movie somewhere on the soundtrack somewhere, And we got onto the subject of, we've got almost an album of songs without a singer here because me and Lionel had still been writing, and we managed to record everything. And we managed to have a sort of a honest conversation about how we could go about doing it, because it was a whole lot of fun for us. You can imagine getting to work legends, Biff Byford and Andy Sneap, So we just moved heaven and earth to make that work, But the caveat being we couldn't call it Balance of Power because, it wasn't Balance of Power. It was a side project with Biff and Andy, but all the songs were written by myself and Lionel, in the usual way. So then fast forward, everyone's been through COVID. life has got in the way again. Meanwhile, we're writing what we thought was going to be the sequel to that Scintilla album, two or whatever we need to call it, imaginatively entitled. But then Biff's schedule didn't allow for him to sing the songs that we'd written on the second one, and Andy then had got the call from Judas Priest to jump in and fill in there.
Yeah, he's kind of full-time producer and live guitarist now.
Exactly, yeah, and he does a fantastic job as well. He's
absolutely
awesome, So that left us with, we'd recorded the album in Minneapolis, thinking that we could just, we could get Biff in to come and sing, and I'm working with Chris Masimore and Stoney Wagner, the guitarists who are actually recorded on the album because we were there. We made the best album we could. We got it as best we could, and then realized, okay, now we don't have a singer. We're back in this familiar field again,
Exactly. That brings me to my question. You've got a new singer, Hazel.
Yes.
Yeah. So talk about Hazel Jade and how she came into the band.
Sure. Well, so we were talking to Toby Jepson, great friend and producer, and he's helped us all the way along with this album, from recording to the videos, to filming, to produce it, so many things. We said to him at the time, we're looking around to see if we can find somebody to fill Biff's boots, basically, someone who could come and sing on this next album.
Big shoes.
And, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he suggested Hazel. He said, I've got somebody that I think would really suit what you're doing, And there was never any question about, Hazel being a female. It was just a case of, okay, can we just send her something and see what she sounds like? And so we did. We sent her a demo of Never Be Here Again. And so she took that and did what she could with that. I had my bare bones of a demo with my rough vocals, sketch for the vocals on there. And she had her own recording equipment in the place she was living at, which was not very much at the time. She said she was recording some stuff in her kitchen at the time. So she actually did the vocal. Actually, they did the demo for the vocal in the kitchen and sent it back to us. And we absolutely got blown away by what we heard. This was the first time we'd heard anybody other than myself singing these songs,
Right.
Straight away, her voice was just phenomenal. So fast forward, we'd agreed, okay, we've got to have Hazel in the band. She's awesome. So we've gone to the recording studios to finish the album, but we couldn't better the initial performance that she had on that demo, the original demo. So what we've done, when you hear that song, Never Be Here Again, you're hearing the actual first real vocal that we ever heard of her. It's on the album for all to hear, if you like, because it's just so phenomenal,
Yeah, isn't that weird sometimes that just the first impression sometimes a singer will do on a vocal performance captures the best emotion. And I've been in that situation too, where when I wrote a song, I did a vocal track for it. And then I said, okay, let's do it for real. And then we come back and we're like, why can't, it's just not as good,
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, we just seized the moment with that particular one song. With it being the first song, we thought, we're just going to keep that magic in there,
Absolutely.
We did everything we could, obviously, in the studio that you would do with any recording,
Right.
We recorded the rest of the album, and she put so much aggression and charisma into the songs, again, in a similar way that I thought John Kay brought to the band, a lot of emotion in the expressiveness and the wide range of the vocal,
Right.
So yeah, and based on that song, if you now go and listen to Never Be Here Again, you'll see exactly why we've got a Hazel Jade in the band.
Yeah, she's fantastic, and the new album, Fresh from the Abyss, is fantastic. And is there? Can you tell us just a little bit about how you write your songs and your process?
Sure. It's one of two ways. Well, usually it's one of two ways. One, sometimes I'm quite prolific, and sometimes I do absolutely nothing for months. So, it kind of evens itself out. but when I'm in a prolific mood, if you like, I can usually get songs down, on Cubase. You know what it's like. You've got everything at your fingertips there. So because I can sing a little bit as well, I can usually manufacture a whole demo from top to bottom and play it to the players, and then they can make some changes, and we can chop and change things around and make a song that way. And other times we've done ideas that, especially with this album, we had a couple of the songs, I do believe it was Deadlands and Velocity, where actually Lionel began by sending me a drum track. Now, he just sat through and played what he would imagine to be a whole song from beginning to end, told me where the markers were, where the different sections of the song would be. And I just sat with my guitar and played. And, obviously we went back, revisited and changed things. But we actually constructed those two songs from the drums up, which was something we hadn't done before. It was a lot of fun to do,
Oh, that's loads of fun. I've done that in the past because my main instrument is the drums. And I was in my last days of the studio before I moved out to a different space. And so I just decided to record drums on two different songs. And they kind of sat around for a couple of years. But then I finally, something came to me and I was just like, oh, my God, this is so much fun. You know what I mean? So which songs were those?
I think it was Velocity and Deadlands.
I'll listen to them again, and
now you know where they came from, right?
Exactly. And the kitchen reverb. I'm looking forward to listening to that one again. So.
Oh yeah, well, no, you won't get that, but
right. But you know what I mean. So
yeah, you can make it look as pretty as you can, kind of thing. Yeah, but it is actually the actual demo of voice that we use, the same actual recording. But
Awesome. So what formats is the new album coming out
on? As far as I'm aware, I definitely know it's on vinyl. I definitely know it's on CD. I know it's in all your favorite, Apple Store. It's on Spotify. It's on all the usual places you get any of your downloads. It's all out there at the moment. So that's as I know.
Are you streaming the whole thing, or are you reserving some for download only, or do you guys have a strategy that way?
To be honest, I'm not exactly sure. That's kind of not my department.
Okay.
I mean, I could make something up, but I don't think it'd be very fair,
Right. I've talked to bands where they said, okay, the only songs we're gonna stream are ones that we've made videos for, and the rest of them you've got to buy a download for. Which sure, yeah. It makes sense to me. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. We've made the videos. There's 3 videos out there right now.
Awesome.
We're talking about making another one right now. But the thing is, there's so many things we're doing right now. We're writing some new songs. We're rehearsing a live set at the moment as well.
Awesome.
So it's kind of just lots of things all at once, really.
Great. Well, that brings me to my next question, which is, do you guys have plans to tour supporting the record, and what can we expect from Balance of Power for the rest of 2024?
Sure. Yeah. Well, as I said, we're actually rehearsing now because the album was released only a couple of weeks ago, something 19th of April, I think, something like that. So, I mean, we've got an agent working his socks off at the moment, trying to find us, whatever we can get booked onto. But it's just it's the timing of that, really. Right now, it's difficult to get onto festivals. A lot of things are booked up, for this year. But we're on the cancellation list for so many places you won't believe. So
that's a good strategy. Yeah, that's a good strategy.
So we're rehearsing everything up. So we're live. We're good to go, basically. And something happens, and we're there. We're not going to miss any opportunity. So, but that means it could be here. It could be in USA. It could be in Europe. It could be anywhere. We're ready to go anywhere. As I said, we've got an agent looking out for things for us. So fingers crossed, something will come of that, But not for sure. We'll be, we booked in for festivals and something hopefully later on this year. It's just a case of let's keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best, really.
Awesome. Yeah, I live over in Vancouver, Washington, in the United States, and so. If you guys ever come out this way, I'd love to catch up with you and see you guys live. So Sorry.
Yeah, go on. I was going to say it's totally on the cards because we're open to everything. So, we did play over last time. Actually, the last time we played in the States was quite a few years ago. It was at Atlanta Prog Power, I think, Prog Power 3, and that was kind of fun because we went over there with no equipment. But that's a whole new story. We'll do that another day.
Right. Okay. So, is there anything, Tony, that we missed? Any shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, no, just, thank you to all the old fans and all the new fans that have been getting in touch with us because they've been, we're filling us full of praise, and it's so good after such a long time. We're so grateful, because it's not lost on us that there's been a bit of a gap here, and we're not getting any younger. So we do appreciate all that these guys are putting in, and what I would say is, to anybody that's into the band at all, old or young, come and see us live because you won't believe what Hazel's doing with these songs in a live setting, especially the old songs from Heathen Machine and some stuff from further back from 10 More Tales of Grand Illusion. So she's killing all of these songs.
Yeah, it would be great. I can't wait. I hope you guys make it out here. I want to thank you, Tony, for being my guest today. And Balance of Power, the new album, fresh from the abyss. Everybody needs to pick up a copy because, in my opinion, the best way to support a band that you like, if you really dig it, pick up an album, vinyl, pick up the CD, buy the downloads, do something to give back to the band to keep them out there, keep them working, and keep them coming around on tour. So, thanks again, and it's been a real pleasure to talk to you.
And you too. Nice to meet you. Hope to see you again soon, yeah?
All right. Thanks, Tony. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
If you like the content we bring you about the heavy metal world, please like, subscribe, and comment to help us grow the channel.